In the future, what will happen is people will probably be able to get in their car, go, I've got a 24-minute drive home, make me a playlist of Chili Peppers 90s-inspired rap rock that lasts for my entire drive home that is exactly to my personal taste. And bing, you'll have all this completely original music created by AI that is exactly the way you want it to be, the way you personally love it. And while for the individual, I'm conflicted because, as you say, for the individual, it's like, I want to listen to the exact kind of music that I love. That sounds awesome. You know, that's what I try and make is my exact favorite style of music. But as the creator, as a songwriter and a musician, it's really sad because I feel like
scary.
I'm going to be obsolete in no time, man. I'm going to be gone.
Here is some positive light for you, right? And this is what I actually believe about any of this AI stuff is the one advantage, which I think society still wants, is they still want to be entertained. Now, you can put on a live performance unlike any computer-generated whatever you want to create. Even if it's a bloody robot on the stage, there's going to be, at least for the foreseeable future, no one's going to look at a robot on stage and go, that's a really great performance. He's incredible. It's going to always be, that's not real. And whilst the music that they can make, it's not real in the sense that it's been thought up of by a human and it has soul and it has meaning and it has some kind of inspiration behind it. You can still enjoy the music and still like it, but I love concerts. I love going to live gigs. I love open mic nights. Like you catch some, diamonds in the rough at some of these places, and then you can talk about them. And so I think as an artist, if I were you, to me, it's like I'm going to make sure I'm continually making sure that my content that I'm creating is authentically human. Like that, it doesn't matter if someone else wants to copy it with AI. They can't copy the way I put on a show. They just can't do my thing.
And you know what I do? I actually completely agree with you because, and I think that, you know, for sports, you're a little further down the line, which it's a little further away because the performance element is what it is. That's why people come to see you perform. They want to see the game unfold the way it is. You know, obviously you could AI doctor a highlight reel if you wanted to, but it's not real. People that were there go, that didn't happen. He tanked that last one.
Well, you know what's even more unusual about sports is let's talk about like because my son, I got a 11-year-old boy, loves his Fortnite, loves his online gaming, and when humans use computers in the gaming world, now I know this isn't quite the sports world, but it's closer to what we're talking about. And if a YouTuber is using a bot or some kind of computer generated, whatever it is, and it's fake, it's no longer real, that is frowned upon. That is cheating, right? Like, no, you're playing a digital game, but if you're using a computer to help you win, that's cheating, and we don't like it. It's not the opposite. Like music in some cases, some people are like, oh, a Chili Peppers inspired, 90s rock rap, half-hour playlist would be amazing. But in the digital computing world of gaming, that is highly offensive, and your career is ruined. Yeah. So I wonder if that same mentality, I don't know why the same mentality isn't with music. Why? Hey, that's cheating.
Well,
like that's not you playing. That's cheating.
The interesting thing about this is that among musicians, if you take yourself seriously as a musician, it is cheating. But there's so many people who do it, and it is, and the stand like auto-tune, for instance, is what I'm talking about. It's been normalized. Right. Like, and as in my genre, rock music, it's even more frowned upon. And I like that. I've actually, when I produce and write and record music, I actually am using less and less help. Here's the problem. When you're at a gig and you've got a beer in your hand, you're a couple beers deep, it's dark, the floor's sticky, you got rubbing shoulders with some strangers, you're with your mates, it's loud as fuck, you can feel the kick drum in your chest, there's the light show going, it's an experience. So when the singer hits a note that's not quite there, you don't care because you don't even hear it. And if you do, you don't care because it's about how it feels. It feels so much bigger than it does if you're sitting there in front of this is the worst way to listen to music, in front of your phone, out of the speaker on the phone and hearing someone else is filming on their phone a live recording. You can just, for some reason, you can hear every bum note, even more so than if you put headphones in and listen to a proper recording. But the difference being that it's so jarring now when you hear something that's not right in tune, because the radio and all that stuff it's that pop music is so produced that it's perfect. But with rock music, I'm in a better position because people are, if you're a real musician, you don't cheat. You do your best to, and if you cheat, you fucking make sure no one can tell you've cheated. It's like getting surgery really tastefully. If anyone can tell you've had surgery, you've ruined it.
It's going to be so perfect, no one is going to even tell. I'm not even singing.
That's right. If you've got a little gimbal inside your bowling ball that is sucking it to the perfect spot, you better hide that bastard.
With my remote.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is an interesting thing, man. I think, at least again in my genre, it's more frowned upon. If you look among musicians, look around and go, "Is he using auto-tune?" On like live, especially because people do it live, and it's just like, it's not cool. So it is there, but it's nowhere near as much as it is in like the gaming world, and it's an interesting thing.
Whatever's going to happen, I think we all are going to have to get used to what's coming.
It's coming, man. It's coming.
There are just too many lazy people in the world.
And that's something that's very cool about your sport, is that there's got to be a hell of a lot more longevity in being a pro bowler than, martial arts or football or something. A lot of these other high energy sports, once you get to 40, you're lucky if you can.
Even 30. Yeah, look, in the world of sports, that's built around athleticism in the traditional sense. How high can you jump? How fast can you run? And how strong you are.
Output. Yeah.
If you miss a half a step, and again, even though Australia is a little bit smaller, our sport is taken very seriously, and so is the money thrown at it. But more so in the US. Like when I'm looking at an NBA game, the amount of money they're putting into the players. If you are half a step behind the next kid coming through, you're a wasted money. It's not looked at from a human aspect anymore. And so if you're not
it's a financial investment.
Exactly. If you can't do your job as good as the next kid coming through that's younger, faster, stronger, you're gone. You're out of the league. And so therefore the turnover in age is very quick. And there's only a handful of guys to take LeBron James out of the equation, or even Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant, who have shown that they are brilliant for a very long time. I think the average lifespan in NBA, NFL, even NRL is less than 3 years or 4 years. It's like, so you've got this very short window to just make all of your money, perform at the highest level, and then you're cut out. That's it. You're gone. And one of the things that
And what do you do with your life?
Exactly. So that's one of the things I'm really grateful about bowling is if I can maintain my fitness and I can look after myself, I don't have that high impact. So for me, if I do get a little sore, a little older, hey, as long as I'm still able to throw that bowling ball and think with my own brain, right? And think with my own brain how to make these adjustments.
It's about staying sharp. Okay.
Yeah. But I know a lot of athletes that they have a really hard time because it is a drug. It is fuel. They get given this incredible opportunity to be at the highest level of a particular sport, and it lasts for a couple of years, and the money's rolling in, and everything's great, and then they get hurt. Their knee, they rupture something, and so that takes 6 months off. They come back, they're not as good. No one wants them. There is a mental health problem with athletes that can no longer do it anymore. And I do wonder if it's the same thing with musicians. Even though, yes, your voice can carry on, but at the same time, maybe your voice changes or you can't hit a certain range of notes that you're famous for hitting anymore. And then you're like, now what do I do? Like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is my life, my blood, my soul, my everything, and I can't do it anymore. So I'm very aware of that in sports and in my sport. I'm grateful I get to do it for longer. But even though it's longer, there will be a day where, I can't do it as good as everyone else anymore.
Physically, yeah.
So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with my life.
I think that, there's a few things in that are very, very intriguing. Like when you talk about a musician, for instance, it's all performance. You need to be able to, it's about the performance. So, but if you also need to be able to physically carry out the performance. And there are some guys like who, a lot of guys, they just completely let themselves go. Like a great example is Vince Neil, the lead singer from Motley Crue. Mm-hmm. I mean, I saw them recently, and he's in better shape than he's been in, but he's not in good shape, and he does not sound good, and he just doesn't take care of himself, and it's really disappointing. Whereas you got guys, you can still do it, like Bryan Adams and Bruce Springsteen. These are older dudes now, man, and they are still crushing it. They're super fit. Their vocals are on point. They're just as good as they've always been, and they're old dudes because they clearly, that's not an accident. They make they understand that there is a physical requirement for them to do what they do. Mm-hmm. So then you bring that over into sports. And the thing that's cool about musicians, like people will still go and see Motley Crue or, Bon Jovi. Poor Bon Jovi, man, his voice is cooked. He's just, I don't know what's wrong with him if he's unwell, but he is fried. But people still go because it's the performance. They love him. They have an emotional attachment to that artist. And there's part of that carries into sports. And that's what's kind of, obviously it's a lot more about the performance. You have to perform your skill. But there's also an element of people get attached to the players, to the personality. Like I watched the UFC yesterday, and Sean O'Malley was, defending his title again. And he's the dude with the big, fluorescent pink and green afro hair, and he's got the cornrows, and he's a real character. Now, granted, he's a weapon, and he's defended his title now multiple times. But even if he wasn't quite that good, he's still very interesting, and he's got himself to a point where he's a very interesting person to watch. And I commend you on that. I don't know how intentional this is for you, but you're an interesting bowler. There's no one who bowls like you. I mean, people try, but you even if you were quite shit, which you're clearly not, it would still be interesting. Wow, check out this dude. Look at this weird style he's brought in. Man, he's really ripping that ball. This is an interesting player to watch. So then you combine that with the fact that you are still crushing it, then it's even more interesting. So there is that, like, obviously performance element of it, you got to win, but there's also like a performance of, this is a great person to watch in this sport.